The day my grandmother died, everything I thought I knew about who I was unraveled in a matter of hours. My name is Alina Hayes, and until the morning of Grandma Margaret's funeral, I believed I was part of the Hayes family. Fully, completely, irrevocably. I thought I belonged. I should have seen it coming. The way my mother, Camilla, always looked slightly uncomfortable when people said I looked like a young Margaret. The way she never quite smiled when Grandma introduced me as her favorite. But I was too busy being the devoted granddaughter, the one who drove up to the countryside estate every weekend, even as Margaret's health declined and others stopped visiting altogether. While they went on vacations and hosted cocktail parties, I was the one holding her hand. The funeral was held exactly how Grandma would have wanted, simple but dignified. In the garden of her sprawling estate in Willow Ridge, surrounded by white lilies and climbing ivy, a string quartet played Vivaldi softly in the background as summer's golden light bathed the yard. I stood quietly near the edge of the gathering, watching my cousins, Fiona and Amelia, dab at their mascara with monogrammed handkerchiefs. My mother, ever the poised socialite, fluttered from guest to guest, her voice sweet, her eyes calculating. Such a shame, Fiona kept repeating, but at least the estate will stay in the Hayes family. I tuned them out, letting my memory drift to Grandma's hands, frail, lined, but always warm, wrapped around mine just a few weeks ago as we flipped through old photo albums. You're the only one who sees me, she had whispered. You come because you care, not because of what you hope to gain. After the service, as I gathered my purse and scarf near the coat room, my mother appeared at my side like a shadow. We need to talk, she said with no pretense of grief. She guided me into Margaret's study, still faintly scented with lavender oil and old paper. You won't be attending the will reading tomorrow, she said, closing the door behind her. What? I blinked. It's for family only. I am family. She hesitated just a second before lowering her voice. No, Alina, you're not. You're adopted. We brought you home when you were 6 months old. Margaret knew, of course, but we all agreed it was better this way. I felt the floor shift under me. You're lying. She reached into her bag, pulled out a folder. These are the adoption papers. I never wanted to tell you, but now it's necessary. You've had a wonderful life. We gave you everything. But when it comes to the inheritance, well, the estate must stay with blood heirs. I'm sure you understand. I didn't, but I nodded, slowly, turned, walked out of the room, past Fiona's smug little grin, past the portrait of Margaret in her favorite green garden hat, past the photographs of summer gatherings that now felt like evidence from a fabricated life. That night, alone in my apartment in the city, I pulled out the lockbox from beneath my bed. Inside were the things I kept close: my birth certificate, school photos, scribbled notes from Grandma. They all felt like props now, except for one envelope, a deed, signed by Margaret herself, transferring ownership of the Willow Ridge estate to me. Sale price, $1. Attached was a note in her familiar script, because you are worth more than blood. My hands trembled. I remembered her saying, just after signing, when they show you who they are, you show them whose name is on the gate. The next morning, I didn't check social media, but the notifications buzzed nonstop. There they were, Instagram stories flooding in. Fiona holding a champagne flute in Grandma's parlor. Amelia stretched across Margaret's antique chaise lounge like a conquering queen. Keeping it in the family, the caption read, followed by heart emojis. They hadn't wasted a single day. A message from Amelia popped up. Hope you understand. It's just how things had to be. And then one from Melora, my only cousin who ever seemed to have a heart. I'm sorry. Fiona already started moving furniture. I wish things were different. I stared at the deed again, then picked up my phone. Omar? I said when my friend answered. Remember that property transfer Grandma signed last year? I need eviction notices. Today. You sure? He asked. I've never been more sure. That evening, I drove up to Willow Ridge, sat in my car across from the estate. Lights blazed from every window. Laughter spilled out into the garden. I saw Fiona showing off the entryway to a group of interior decorators. Curtis, her husband, supervised movers wrapping Margaret's antique mirrors. My phone buzzed. Another text from Amelia. Blood is blood. Hope you understand. I looked down at the deed in my lap. No, I didn't understand, but I was about to make sure they did. Omar called back. Documents are ready. Want me to file them first thing tomorrow? Let them enjoy tonight, I said, watching Fiona's kids run through Margaret's prized rose garden. Let them think they've won. The next morning, I sat on the porch of the estate, Grandma's sunglasses on my face and her old gardening boots on my feet. When Fiona pulled into the driveway, her SUV kicking up gravel, she nearly tripped in her heels when she saw me. What are you doing here? She hissed. Protecting my property, I replied calmly, holding out the deed and a fresh set of papers. Curtis rushed forward. Start moving the dining room furniture. No one's moving anything, I said, raising my voice. This house was sold to me last year by Margaret Hayes while she was of sound mind and health. The sale was legal, witnessed, notarized, and recorded. This is private property. You're trespassing. Fiona grabbed the papers, scanned them. This is a forgery. I confirmed it yesterday at the county clerk's office. Would you like to see the video of Margaret signing it? Or speak to the doctor who certified her cognitive competency the week before? You manipulated her. Curtis growled. Funny, because I heard you all manipulated her into changing her will after her first signs of dementia. You don't have the right, Fiona snapped. I have the deed, and I have the letter she left me. I pulled it from my pocket. To my real family, the one who stayed. Love, Margaret. I handed them the eviction notices. You have 1 hour. Leave, or I call the police. You'll regret this, Fiona spat. No, I said. I really won't. Later that afternoon, the movers packed their things in silence. One by one, the cars rolled down the drive. When the last one disappeared, the estate fell silent again. The next day, Terry, the family's attorney, called. I knew about the deed, he confessed. Then why didn't you say anything? Camilla threatened to report me to the bar, said she'd accuse me of coercing your grandmother. And the will? She changed it 3 days after her dementia diagnosis. But look, he sent a file. Her doctor had noted decline months earlier. They delayed filing the diagnosis on purpose. I met Terry at the county clerk's office. He brought along Dr. Madden, Margaret's physician. She was already struggling by January, Dr. Madden explained, but Camilla and Fiona pressured me not to file the official report until March. And after the will? They wanted me to backdate the diagnosis, to make it look like she was incompetent when she gave you the house. I refused. Dr. Madden handed over a USB stick. Every phone call, every visit. I recorded it all. While we spoke, Rachel, my college friend, texted, Someone's at the estate, trying to get in. I raced back to Willow Ridge. Curtis and 2 men were prying at the side door. This is trespassing, I said, phone recording. Back away now. Omar arrived moments later with a restraining order. Step foot on this land again and you'll be arrested. That night, Melora messaged, I left something for you in the mailbox. It was a flash drive. Security footage from 2 days before the will signing. On it, Fiona and Camilla stood over Margaret as she hesitated with the pen. But Alina, she began. Isn't real family, Fiona interrupted. My mother guided her hand to sign. I felt sick. The next morning, I walked into probate court. Terry beside me, Fiona, Camilla, and their lawyer on the other side. The judge, stern, gray-haired, reviewed everything. You're contesting a deed signed before any cognitive issues arose? Fiona's lawyer stammered. Terry stood. Your Honor, we have proof they conspired to delay Margaret Hayes' dementia diagnosis to manipulate her into changing her will. Here are the call logs, recordings, medical reports, and security footage showing coercion. I stood, voice steady. I was there every weekend. I cooked her meals, read to her when her eyes failed, drove her to appointments they canceled. I earned her trust. I earned her love. That's why she gave me this home. Melora stood, trembling. They blocked care, isolated her. I have the records. They planned it all. The judge frowned, her voice cutting through the silence. The deed stands, and this case is being forwarded for criminal investigation. Consider this court's decision final. Outside the courthouse, Fiona grabbed my arm. You'll ruin us. You ruined yourselves. You're not family. No, I said, pulling away. I'm something better. I'm the one she chose. Back at the estate, Rachel brought coffee and a newspaper. You're on the front page. Terry arrived with architectural plans Margaret had drawn up, a library, an art center, a place for the community. She dreamed of this, I whispered. Let's make it happen, Omar said. Melora brought over Margaret's old art supplies. Lisa dropped off photo albums from the attic. One picture stood out, Margaret holding a baby. On the back, her writing, "Family is not blood, it's heart. I chose Alina." Weeks later, the transformation began. Painters, librarians, volunteers filled the halls. We named it the Margaret Hayes Community Center. On the new sign by the front gate, carved in bold letters, "Where love builds legacy." Margaret knew, and now so did the world.